Well, happy Thanksgiving week, everyone, and welcome to the Coach McVay Show, presented by Microsoft Surface, Copilot plus PC. I'm JB, along with the head coach of your Los Angeles Rams, the 9-2, and running first in the NFC, Los Angeles Rams. Here is Sean McVay. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
That was a fun night at SoFi. We've had some mountaintop moments there, but that one felt special.
Yeah, it was fun, and I thought the atmosphere was outstanding, and I thought our guys gave the fans a chance to get into the game right away. Get the stop defensively, offensively, overcame some situations that we want to try to avoid. Some big third down conversions, getting into some second and longs, but get a touchdown, and then for Cobie to be able to get the touchdown to go up 14-0, and then it leads to a 21-0. It was big, and guys have started really fast, and we got to continue to be able to do that.
Yeah. All right, let's start with the last thing I heard last night, which was Davante Adams addressing the media saying this is the most fun he's ever had playing football in his life. As the leader of this locker room, what does that mean?
That means a lot, and he's a real one, and he's not going to say it if he doesn't mean it, and he's had an amazing amount of positive experiences to draw on, but I think it's about the people. You look at his teammates, how much he enjoys, whether it's his receiver room, whether it's guys on defense, whether it's the relationship between he and Matthew that's continuing to develop and blossom, his relationship with his coaches. It's pretty special, but it's always about people, and I think there's meaningful relationships that are impactful. I think he enjoys the rhythm, and he's been a huge part of it, and that's pretty cool to hear, and it means a lot, and let's continue to do some cool stuff together.
Everyone loves to win. I mean, that makes it fun. But I was thinking this morning about how there was an element of fun that predated the winning for the Rams. Like, if you want to go back to Maui, the off-season program, like there was a joy around this group before you ever won a game. Is that true, that the sequencing of fun and winning?
Well, I think good football is fun, but I think you're exactly right. And I think there's a genuine enjoyment for what we do. Do you enjoy coming in? Do you love football? Do you love doing it with people that have similar values and principles, but that also have different personalities that helps you expand and broaden your horizons? And so I agree with that. And then I think it's only gotten better. And one of my favorite things about this team is how connected we've stayed in some really challenging, the two losses are as heartbreaking of losses as I've been a part of in regards to how they went down, but the responses have been exactly in alignment. And I think every single experience, whether it be positive or some of the challenging ones, has made this group what it is through 11 games, and want to continue on this theme. But I think you're right in terms of predating some of the positive experiences that we've seen when the games are unfolding.
Do you coach how to handle success, how to let success kind of flywheel into more success?
Well, I don't know about that. I think what you try to do is have a commitment to, certain standards and a consistency of your weekly rhythm, your approach. We try to be inside out, whether there's good things going on or whether there's, negative things going on more than anything else. I think outside in, it's such a blessing how many people care about what's going on and the amount of attention that these guys get for doing good stuff, but it shouldn't affect our ability to be inside out. And what's important is how we're present, how we continue to take steps. I think the thing that I'm encouraged about is the way guys are playing, but man, there's a lot of room for growth, and that's collectively. That's coaches and players alike. There's a lot of positive experiences, but I think that when you have the right kinds of people and they understand that the confidence they have and that they play with on Sundays is earned through work, and that humility is only a day away in this league, our guys understand that, and so we try to be consistent in our approach, whether we win or lose.
It's an easy transition to the Stafford section of this program, as we do every week. And it's Thanksgiving week, and there's 6 games to go in the regular season, and MVP chants are ringing throughout SoFi Stadium. And so I've resisted the urge to ask the dumb question, but I'll ask it here in the hopes of getting a good answer. What would it mean to you if Matthew Stafford were to win an MVP?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would, you want to try to do right by your players. I think the cool thing is that what Matthew would say is, I'm not putting a label on it. I'm just enjoying playing, love being a part of this group. And, that would be really special because it would represent what he means as a leader for our football team. But again, I know he doesn't think about that. We're not thinking about those kind of things. But there's nothing that's more gratifying than to see you be a small part of others' successes. And that's why I love this team. That's why I love what they're about, celebrating each other's successes. And this is the greatest team sport that there is. But, man, we are certainly lucky to have him leading the way and wouldn't want anybody else doing that for us. And, you want to continue to try to do your part to help put our players, and especially him, in situations that give them a chance to ultimately bring the cool stuff to life. And that's what they've done. It's a player's game.
This streak of perfection that he's on, it's going to end at some point. But I think what's most enjoyable about this interception-free run is that we already know how he's going to react when it does end, which is to say he's not going to react at all.
Right.
I mean, even think about where it started with the first drive in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That was his last one. Look at how he played the rest of that game.
That's right.
And so you know that when it does happen, all he's going to do is strap it up and go again.
No question. And he's going to play each snap as its own entity. I think the one thing people, and I know you know this too, is like, he's got these amazing numbers, but he still is being smart and aggressive. Like it's not like there's not opportunities that he's not pushing the ball down the field, activating inside windows, with some body presence. I mean, and he just got the courage to be able to go for it. And I think there's a clarity of what he's seeing. There's a clarity of trust with the people that he's doing it with. And I think that's why you're seeing him play the way that he is. And I expect that to continue as long as, he continues to just be who he is and our players around him do that week in and week out, day in and day out.
I was listening to your press conference driving home last night, and you went to the fine wine line again
Yeah, I did.
and said he could play for another
decade. It's a
decade.
but a goodie for some of these guys we've had, man.
Keep using it.
Yep.
But my thought was he may play 10 more years, but he's never going to report to training camp
That's
again
right.
after
That's
the
exactly
way this
right.
summer went. But then he steps to the podium, and what does he do? He actually touts what Jimmy did
I
for
know.
this team during training camp, and then how badly it irritates him when he has a bad practice.
That's right.
And that the go ball to Davante only happens because he missed Davante in practice this week, and you looked at it on film and you talked about it, because that play wasn't necessarily a first look for Davante,
Yeah,
was it?
and he said it. I mean, he sees so much, and he's got such a big picture understanding of. He was able to, kind of peek the release and had a concept coming into his vision. The post player was, really cheating towards the formation. There wasn't a lot of vertical grasp, but like stuff that he's able to see is incredible while still playing within the timing and rhythm. And his understanding of the intent of these things that we're trying to get off it's really special. But the game means a lot to him. And if you wonder why people love Matthew Stafford, look no further than the humility that he has, but also this quiet confidence and just kind of ease at how he moves. But and I agree with him. I think it's a tremendous credit to Jimmy, but to even acknowledge that just shows his overall awareness and what a special and rare person he is.
I think a lot of people watching on TV saw that second half and they feel the Rams in command of that game. They're like, why is Sean still so upset with Matthew? Like, what are they arguing about?
Yeah,
but then
it's a lot of love. We love each other enough, and I can get a little bit upset, but he knows the people you're most comfortable with. But that was me being a basket case.
But I think it fits with the theme, right? Where that game is squared away.
Yep.
And you're not trying to run up the score, but you are chasing your best selves.
That's right.
And whether that's out here at the practice field or in the second half against the Bucs, that's all you're after.
There's no question. And there was a different approach, but there was still, an expectations of how I want to communicate. I don't like that doesn't do anything to move us forward. When I get that way, I could do a better job with the clarity of communication. But I think we love each other enough to know that, hey, I always will apologize. I'm not going to be perfect. And that was certainly an instance. I'm glad did the TV catch that?
They did.
Dang it.
Something tells me Matthew gives as good as he takes. Though,
yeah. Well, that's exactly right. That's why the headset is so funny, because you can't talk back to me on that thing.
With that, let's get to our film breakdown, presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. We've gotten this nice little rhythm of giving you a defensive play and an offensive play,
Nice.
Sean. And here's
That's what you
another
like.
week where we cannot overlook the land shark, Kobie Durant, and his pick six.
Yeah, incredible. You're just taking advantage of an opportunity. They just dished the ball to the flat, good push and rush. He's bobbling it, and then he, just does a great job taking it away. And then look at Cam Kitchens be able to have the juice. He and BY get out in front, just shield him from Baker. He scores. And this is, just the joy that these guys have, but it's rushing coverage. It's taking advantage of opportunities. This is kind of, you say it's lucky, well, he's bobbling it. This is a really reliable player in Otten, but you don't miss your ops. And he rips it out. Unbelievable job by him. And he's just had a knack, and they kind of come in bunches. And what a great feel and a great illustration of guys playing for one another, just to be able to get out in front right here. And then I'm always loving watching the celebrations that these guys have and that they kind of choreograph with each other. It lets me know that they expect to be able to make these types of plays. This stadium was on fire when they ended up making this play. It was awesome.
Yeah, even your
It was
quarterback's
electric.
throwing the
I know,
shark
the land
fin.
shark. That was cool.
Rams have a pick in 4 straight regular season games for the first time since 2018, and it wasn't just that play, though. It was the biggest highlight for Cobie. He he had the early PBU
Yeah, it
on
was
the
huge.
deep shot. He blew up a perimeter screen. Like, he's doing it all for your
He is.
secondary.
He's playing complete, and I think really, Emmanuel Forbes had a great game. D. Will made some great plays. Josh Wallace, it's a bummer for McCreary. He ended up getting his groin on the one play that he did play defensively, or kind of felt it a little bit. But those guys on the back seven played really well. I thought Cam Kitchens and Kam Curl were excellent. You want to see a great play. Watch the screen play that Kitchens makes on the 3rd down and 7 in the high red area. He's a post player in the middle of the field and comes out of nowhere like he's just, like a human missile. And that was an incredible play by him.
Let's do one more. Colby Parkinson has a touchdown
Let's do
in
it.
3 straight
3
games.
weeks in a row, man. It's just cool for Colby. He's played really well both phases. But excellent job here. They kind of have a 3-over-2 type of deal, running a man coverage route on Davante David. They kind of got that safety flat-footed with 50 feet on the inside, and he and Matthew on the same page, just doing a great job of activating the window that we were trying to attack right there. But big time play, and awesome to see Warren with the spike. It's a great spike by Warren. Excellent execution, great protection up front. And, our guys are really having an understanding of what we're really trying to get done. Puka ties down that inside safety. And now Colby's doing a great job of being able to run away from the leverage and making a big play. I think he was 4 for 4 on his targets, really good. And, the run game, he's a stud, man. I'm happy for Colby and really happy for our group as a whole. Another great play by Matthew.
Great presence of mind by Parkinson to go get that football and give it to McClendon. He's going to be our guest on the player show this week.
Warren is or Colby?
Warren is.
Yeah,
How did he
Warren was
perform
awesome.
in his 4th start of the season?
He's done great. Warren is, he's playing really well. He's got such a cool, quieted confidence, a calm and a poise, and he was outstanding. I loved what I saw from Warren.
One other tight end thought, Davis Allen, off-frame catches. My goodness.
I
He's
know.
got those go-go
Stole
gadget
that
arms.
one from somebody else. That was not intended for him on that play.
Oh, really?
No, that was, but it was a great catch. He climbed the ladder. He showed his athleticism. It was a great play on the screen. Davis is a stud. Those tight ends are playing with a lot of confidence right now. I think their coach Scooter Huff does such a great job. And I give, you talk about Matthew, Dave Ragone and his relationship. That is a really cool thing to watch. Dave's such a great coach, a great communicator. He's so steady, and I just I love seeing these guys have success. You talk about Warren, what a tremendous tribute to him, and and the coaches, and they're doing a great job.
Rams tight ends with 6 touchdowns in the Rams' last 5 games. You're going to get Tutu Atwell back this week. Some speed element over the top back to your
it'll
offense.
be great. He's been chomping at the bit. We were probably just erring on the side of caution to put him on IR in the first place. He'll be ready to go, and then I'll be looking forward to connecting with Reggie and kind of seeing what it looks like for Akello Witherspoon, and hopefully we came out of this game clean.
In the meantime, Konata Mumpfield stepping into more with X-Man also out of your rotation. I mean, that catch he made, Stafford almost threw it like a slider.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he couldn't have possibly seen Konata. He just must have known where he might be.
He's just got a great feel. I thought both the catches that Mumph had, were excellent job by our offensive line and Matthew being able to read with his feet and be able to get through progressions. I thought those were elite examples of just high-level quarterback play. Mumph is a reliable guy, and he knows the big picture of what we're trying to get done. He's able to play a bunch of different spots, and I was happy for him to be able to have, 2 huge conversions. The 3rd down was outstanding, and, I think the other one was on kind of a 2nd down situation where he wanted to get back on track, and he did a great job on both those.
You mentioned Forbes' name along the way there, and when you take the field this Sunday at Carolina, it will be exactly a year since he was waived by the Washington Commanders. Last night he faced 7 targets, did not allow a catch, recorded a career-high of 5 passes defended. What can you say about the year he's had and the way he's grown within this season?
It's awesome. It's such a tribute to, his work, being around a coach in Aubrey Pleasant that'll really put your arm around you and, tell you I love you and care about you and challenge you in the right ways. And I think, his willingness to be open to allowing Aubrey to coach him hard because he knows, first of all, this guy loves me, cares about me, he believes in me. And I think he's just consistently improving and growing, and it's awesome. What a cool story. A great tribute and testament to his resolve, mental toughness, being in a situation where he's around somebody special like Aubrey and his teammates. And want to continue to, just, do a great job of continuing to grow. I think that's the most important part of our group collectively, whether you talk about Forbes or just our team as a whole. I think the encouraging thing when you look at the film, man, there's still so much room for growth. And I think our guys understand that, and they got the appropriate amount of humility, but also there's a confidence and the swagger that's earned week in and week out. And I think they're starting to understand that.
Humility is an interesting word because I remember Emmanuel saying that he thinks he's as fast as Tutu.
Yeah.
But at the end of that first half, I think he got a dose of humility.
Yeah, I think he just ran out of gas. Like I was telling you before the show, he looked like me on the open 400 down the back stretch, man. I looked pretty good through those first 300, and then the truck jumped on my back. But he was awesome, did a great job right there, and he still got the pick right there.
Yeah, he's hitting. We talked about Durant's hits. You talked about Kinchin's. Kam Curl, man, the way that he is lighting offensive players on fire. He shed that block on the toss play to Tez Johnson.
Yep.
I mean, he is arriving with violence.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about that one is he's so violent. He's a great open field tackler. He's so tough at the point of attack. He's got great range in the intermediate and deep parts of the field as well. But what's cool about that is if you look at that play that you're talking about, unbelievable effort, and it was two plays. There was one play in between where he ended up not making a tackle that he's accustomed to making, and it's always about that response. This guy is a stud. He's so tough. He's doing a great job communicating. He has a really great understanding. He's a really smart football player with a big picture acumen, and that was a great play by him, but he's made a lot of those over the course of this year.
I'll preface this by saying on this show, we like pressures and picks more than sacks. Yes, agreed, fine. But it was nice to get the sacks back in the column, especially for someone like Kobie Turner or Jared Verse, both of whom were due.
It was. They both did a great job. I thought they played relentless throughout the course of the night. It was cool to be able to see both of those guys get, the production. So I was happy for them. But I thought they influenced and impacted the game, not exclusive to those two sacks that they got, but just overall and their effort. We talked about honoring AD with the way that we played, collectively as a team, and I thought the guys did that.
I love what you said because I felt the same way, that as special as his championship season was, that Aaron played 22 and 23 and weathered that storm and passed that baton to so many of the members of that group. Really special.
Yeah, I mean, he's had just such a tremendous impact and influence on, what is kind of a new iteration, in our organization, but he set the foundation, and guys like Cobie and BY got to see it firsthand. Guys like Akello and Cobie, Quentin Lake, they were all here as well. So I think it's pretty special to have, seen the way that he moves, what he's about, and how much he impacted a lot of the cool things that are going on right now.
I was thinking about that with respect to Turner, right? Because he played alongside and then without Aaron, and now with Puna. How has his role in the context of this year's defensive front changed?
I just think he's naturally asserted and ascended into, this great leader that's himself. I think the great people that you're around, you learn from them and you take parts of them, but you still want to be authentically yourself. That's exactly who he is. He is so refreshingly secure in himself. But I think he's just naturally, consistently grown into. He's been a great player from his rookie year, but he's getting better because of the way he works at it. And then I think he's figuring out and just has a good feel to be able to pick and choose his spots how to be able to lead in his way that's authentic to him. And he's a stud.
Speaking of leadership, why was it important to you and to the Los Angeles Rams to get Nate Landman extended in the middle of this season?
Yeah, I think, because he was a guy that had earned it, and he had shown the way that he had led and connected with his teammates and his coaches and the way that he was impacting things in a positive way, that this was a smart thing. Matthew Sharon and Eshaun deserve a ton of credit, as Tony Pastors, and I'm really happy for him. And I think the great thing about him is when you see the responses from his teammates, when they see that go down, that it's the right decision to kind of reward people that are deserving of it. When you see how authentically happy guys are that represent a lot of the things that we want to be about, really happy for Nate.
All right, I have a story to relay. It comes from our good friend DeMarco Farr,
nice,
who can spin a tale. So I don't know how accurate this is, but this is what he told us on air yesterday, okay? That Mevis came out and got checked by the uniform guys, the uniform police that are down there pregame. Right. Apparently, they were set to fine him for not having all the pads that are required for a defensive lineman wearing number 92 until they realized he was the kicker. Do you think that's got a shot to be true, to be accurate?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I could see that, man. Sometimes you're not sure. He could double down as that. We'll keep him. It was really cool by him. He did a great job, consistent on the extra points again, and then to be able to hit 2 field goals, one from 40, one from 52. Mevis did good, man.
But you're not going to use him at 3 technique.
We're not going to use him at 3 technique. We'll keep him kicking it right between the uprights.
3 points is fine. It is Thanksgiving week, of course. And I wonder how you handle, first of all, the holiday schedule, going on the road to Carolina with the team this week.
Yeah, really what you do is you just move things up on Thursday. So you have an accelerated day so guys can get time with their families. Still think it's important, that it is so important to get the appropriate time with their families, but want to make sure that, all right, are we able to adjust and adapt, but still be able to get the work that's needed to be able to do what we want to try to be able to do, or give ourselves the best chance to do that on Sunday against the Panthers. So really the only adjustment that we make is we kind of accelerate and move up to Thursday, but that's an important day in our work rhythm, and hopefully we won't have rain this week.
That's right. That's a good point, although I heard you practice pretty well in that rain.
Yeah.
The Rams have the longest Thanksgiving game drought in the league. Haven't played on that holiday since '75. Would you like to play on Thanksgiving some year?
You know what? I whatever the schedule is, I don't worry about the things that are a little bit outside of my control. So if we had to play on Thanksgiving, great. If not, we'll still enjoy what we've been doing.
Very disciplined answer by you. I appreciate it. How about your sense of gratitude this holiday season?
Yeah, just people in my life. The players, the coaches, my wife and family. I just have a lot to be thankful for. But most importantly, as it relates to just being here, I've said it before. It's a real blessing to be able to be around a lot of people that your motivation is, I don't want to let you down. Want to consistently try to do right by them. They inspire me to want to be better, and my cup's always full for that reason.
You're a blessing to us too, man. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate
and for
you,
everything you've done for the Rams. Have a great Thursday and Sunday in Carolina.
Let's do it.
All right, for Sean McVay, JB Long, thank you for joining us. Wishing you a happy Thanksgiving as well. This is the Coach McVay Show, presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot plus PC.